everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Stay Shining. In this episode, we are going to be talking about the value of evolving. I'm excited for this one because we always talk about stay shining. We always talk about stay evolving, stay leveling up. So today I want to get more into depth of our meaning of stay evolving.
Oh wow, let's dive in real quick.
All right, so first let's start off with statistics. Well, we're just gonna give you guys little, what would you call them? Generalization points. Well, for this entire episode, we're just going to go down on our list of things that are important to us that involve evolving. Okay, so now let's start with the statistics. Take it off.
Well, you were going to start with it.
Okay, well, here's what I think about when it comes to evolving. I know for me, guys, I found myself wanting to learn more, wanting to see where I could take my life. And so I went to my dad one day and I was like, Dad, I have a couple questions for you. And then he said, well, let's go on Google and let's sort this out. So I started Googling. Here's an example. There is so for women, some of us don't have education and some of us do. And then when you go into depth of that, it will tell you different groups, ethnicities on who has education and who doesn't have education. Now, I'm using education as an example. And so once you see the numbers and look it up for yourself and see those numbers, you will see where you want to place yourself. And that leads to how you can navigate through your life and how you want your life to look.
Well, not necessarily to place yourself, but basically where you are at currently.
Yes,
right?
where you're at currently and where you can.
So where you can grow to place yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so basically by having a baseline, borderline generalization of basically your level playing field and your peers, you know, not something that you want to do to rank yourself or to devalue yourself, but just to know where you're at.
Right, and my dad had to remind me of ranking myself because I tend to do that. I'm not gonna lie, guys, I compare sometimes. I compare myself to others, and we all know, I say it all the time, comparison is the thief of joy.
Exactly.
So,
I love that. You can't level up if you're comparing yourself and not yourself to yourself.
So when you are looking up these things, don't feel shame, because I felt shame in myself. You're looking this up to see where you can go.
Exactly, and the sky's the limit. So no, there's no bottom floor.
Right.
You know, everybody has room to go up. So, like, say for instance, what you were talking about, we were saying that when it comes to not health or wealth, we were using education as the baseline or pretty much to start the conversation with, and knowing that, you know, the more education you have, the greater experience your life is going to provide you. Mm-hmm. Whether that's financial, whether that's the places you go, whether it's the places you see, whether it's the type of jobs you work at or the companies you build and start your own. Right. But you got to know, you know, at the bottom, okay, where will I start from? Where's my beginning ground floor? What are the things I need to attain to be able to get me to the level that I want to be at? And so we're using education as that baseline. Yeah. So for me, I'm going to applaud myself because I'm happy my birthday's coming up in another week, right? Less than 10 days, a couple days.
Growing old is a privilege.
Yes.
And oh my God. You're really lucky, especially from where you come from.
Exactly. The experiences that I have gained and gathered in my life are beautiful. But it took me at the age of 17 when I wasn't the best student. When I almost didn't graduate high school. I mean, there was some flaws where I didn't even... where there were some times where I dropped out several times and had to continue back on the mission of, you know, attaining more knowledge or getting the certificate to be able to go over to the next level. And even now, I can successfully say that I have failed a lot when it has came to school. But I have attained several degrees from all my failures.
I'm like, it doesn't seem like you failed in mine. Well, like, what are you saying, man?
Well, say, for instance, I've been going to school for almost 25 years, right? And I got a couple master's degrees and a bachelor's degree. That's great. However, there's another degree that was left on the table that was started, and I didn't get a chance to complete that one. But that is no excuse. It doesn't say I don't have an opportunity to go back. But for what I wanted to do, I needed to attain a certain level of knowledge.
Yes.
And so I went to school for psychology, Masters in Human Dynamics, MBA, you know what I mean, Masters in Management, the different types of degree programs.
Right.
And I finally successfully completed a few, and I feel like I've done some great things. Now, just getting a degree doesn't necessarily mean you're going to make all this money. But like we were talking about in our last show, in order to, you know, do the 3 C's, we have to gain certain things that can make us more, I like to say, marketable in the world.
Marketable and easier to be around.
Impactful, easier to be around. You know what I mean? So I had to gain a certain level of knowledge based on experiences. And so basically what we're talking about today is enlightening yourself with a lot of insight to gain perspective on the different situations in your life that you're going to face so you can be a better person.
Yeah, and that leads us to the next one, is making sure that we're bettering ourselves each and every day so we can be better for us and for the people around us. And you said something, but I literally almost forgot, but it's just like, it's so important to make sure that there's so many things that happen to us on a daily basis, and we don't have the knowledge to even go about it. And it's like you need to look it up. Like you need to become aware of it.
Just to give an example.
Yeah, give us an example.
When you were hanging out and on vacation in Florida when COVID first started,
yes.
right? You guys did not take COVID as a real thing.
Dad,
right? A lot of people didn't believe that it was a real thing.
Yeah.
But with more awareness and more knowledge to everyone, then, you know, people were like, oh.
Dad, okay, so he wants to bring up COVID.
Well, because that's something that hit everybody. And
yes, but we were aware. We were aware of the precaution. We took precautions. We were aware of every little thing. We were cautious with our families.
Yeah. But you know what? In the beginning, everyone.
Yeah, in the beginning, we didn't take it seriously.
No one took the precautionary tactics because they didn't necessarily believe it was a real thing until like they're faced with all these things that happen with their family members and stuff like that. Just because they didn't get it, that awareness clicked in, and now they have to deal with those circumstances.
That's a good point, because
so they learned from those experiences.
We did learn, but that's also a good point. Like, so many of us are walking through every day and like, you know what, I know I have good knowledge on it. Like, I don't need to I don't have to touch base on that again. Like, you actually do. Yeah. Like, there's so many of us thinking we know it all.
Yes,
like, we know everything, but we don't.
And there's a lot of people who know nothing and choose to live in that space.
Right.
You know
so it's just like,
I like to call people a walking shipwreck, right? Because it's just like, okay, there's nobody at the wheel.
Right.
I mean, there's icebergs everywhere, and you're the Titanic, and you literally have no captain at the wheel. So at a certain point, we have to level up and make sure that everybody in their role on the ship, especially yourself, is well equipped to handle the situation. And so that's what we're talking about today. So we're using education as that basis. So, you know, let's educate and go to school to be a captain. And when we be a captain, we're going to be a captain of our own ships, our own vessels.
And also, like, guys, when we're talking about education, like, I have self-taught myself so many things at so many ages. Like, I didn't always go to my parents. Like, I really experienced it myself, or I just had to teach myself. And that's how it is. making sure that you try to catch on, try to be aware of certain things, ask questions. Like, don't be afraid to ask questions. Like,
well, at a certain point, you don't even have to ask too many questions.
You don't have to ask too many questions. You can look it up, and it gives you the information. Like,
information is literally around us. And like we said in the last show, it's not about resources. It's about resourcefulness. And I'm going to hit you with that on many occasions.
Yes. It's so true, and it's so key.
If you're going to get the results and the impact out of your life that you're looking to get, then you have to take advantage of all this information dangling from the ceiling at a certain point.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, if you don't know anything about politics and like you don't like the way your social structure in the city is going, and you don't like the infrastructure or the way that the city is being ran, and you're living in a place or a state that has not changed, right. and you're wondering why things are not improving for yourself, for others, for the community, you gotta just be like, oh, okay, well, my lack of awareness was the reason that I didn't pick myself up, gravitate to a place that was going to be calmer waters or
more beneficial,
more adaptable to what I'm trying to, with the lifestyle I'm trying to live.
Right.
And that's just like even when it comes to fitness or being healthy, you don't have to be a stellar workout performer.
Thor and shit.
You don't have to be Thor or
all you need to do is do 5 squats a day, baby. Start there.
However, unfortunately, there is some statistical data that says when you're overweight and you don't control your eating habits and your dieting habits and alcohol and stuff of that nature, that your quality of life is going to be 20% less than that person who has not done those things. Like, I love to use my son as an example. He doesn't drink. He doesn't want to drink. He's never really drank anything. And it's not really a big choice for him. It's just something that he just knew that he never wanted to do. And he knows what the negative things that can happen to a person. And like for myself, I mean, I like to give myself another pat on the back. I've been working with some personal challenges in my own life. I quit drinking several months back. And it's always it's a work in progress. You know, we struggle with these
There's
things.
Me every day. Hey, Dad, do you want to drink?
There's outside people that are like, ooh, bad devil on your shoulder. But at a certain point, you gotta have that mindset to just say, I know what the statistical data has provided for me. I know that it would diminish my brain over a long period of time. I know it would diminish my health over a long period of time.
No, taking out the game in the morning.
They take you out the game in the morning. Like, and make sure now we talk about this quality of life and being nice to people and walking around speaking and interacting in a positive manner. Now, if you got a hangover and you're short on your temper because you had a lack of rest,
right? I'm pushing people in line trying to get my Subway sandwich. Go home.
You know what I mean? You're yelling at the Starbucks worker at 7 a.m. because you didn't do your due diligence on what you need to do in your personal life. Now, you've caused a ripple effect in a negative manner and not the ripple effect of positive change in that manner. Right. So in order to get the results that you need, you have to have some form of control, and once you have this control, you can achieve this learning opportunity and you can level up.
Yes, and have discipline. Like, when it comes to other episodes, we talked a lot about discipline, but that's just really real. Like, I don't be drinking as much as I used to because I have discipline now. I have, responsibilities. So it's just, I have purpose. So it's just like I have to have discipline and I have to stay orderly. And that's like so key when it comes to evolving and making sure that you're the best version of yourself, because we need to have that discipline in order to keep evolving. Like, it's going to be hard without it.
And it's good. Like, our family-centric situation, we are very accountable with each other's behaviors.
Right. So like,
we're not only Team Holly. We're we're a family. We have our family crest. We're like I look at our family as like a business opportunity. Because, it's an organization with a creed and a motto and it's purpose, and it's basically going to establish something and it's going to go further than we are. So in a sense, it is a organization, a community, a business, a forceful, impactful thing that's going to move forward. So we have to basically hold each other accountable, and that's all a part. I mean, sometimes you don't get to pick who you have around you, but you do get to pick the type of behaviors that people display around you.
And we're sorry to continue.
No, go ahead.
And we're so lucky to have each other, because holding yourself accountable on your own is so tough. Like, it's so tough. There was a point where we weren't so close, and like, where dad has to go here, he has meetings there, I need to go to dance, I have to do stuff, Tay's doing this. Like, there was times when we weren't really holding each other accountable as much, and we had to do that for ourselves. And so be able to do that with yourself, have that discipline, really be strict. Like, I heard this on another podcast, you have to like be your own parent. Like, you have to be your own mom, you have to be your own dad at some point, because like, what would you do? Like, what would they do?
So you got to think like that at an early age. You know, if I'm going to be all these different roles, if I don't start to practice now, how can I just get into that responsibility and I just turn it on?
Right.
You know what I mean? So you got to, like we talked about in the last show, you have to practice for these experiences that you're going to tackle in your life. And once you practice in the right manner, when these things happen and when they occur, you don't have to get ready. You've already stayed ready. And so I just want people to live the best human experience they possibly can have. And that's going to come from community, communication, giving more out of yourself than you take from the situation. I like to say, I don't want to ever be an inconvenience. I want to be a situation where it's a positive experience. But if I'm taken away from your experience, then that is not the goal. I have basically made it about me and not we.
Right. And so moving on to the next one, let's talk about balancing life, because I feel like what we just were talking about goes hand in hand with like balancing life and making sure all your cups are, you know, at the same height or whatever.
Yeah, because I mean, like,
because it's going to be hard to even try to evolve if you're off over here, and
if your finances ain't right, if you're not learning stuff over here,
work
your health
shitty,
is bad,
like,
you picked the wrong job, you're gonna have some concerns.
It's going to be hard to even try to evolve or move forward or think, what do I do? And then that leaves you feeling stuck. And the point here is to evolve. So when it comes to balancing life, we're never going to have it all balanced. Like, one thing is going to be off, but I try every day to make sure all my shit's in order, all my ducks are in a row. And at least I'm trying, because I don't want something over here throwing me off, because I know it will. And so, you know, in times where I feel like one of my cups are off and I can't control it, because we can't control every outcome in life, that's just not how it is. I try to just get a plan to make sure I can work on that area, if that makes sense. Do you feel me?
Well, yeah, because I mean, we can't control everything in life. Somebody could wake up and have a heart attack tomorrow. That's something you can't control.
Right.
But you can control your mindset. You can control the way you're going to respond and act to whatever situation.
Right, and go into it.
But it's going to take growth from a certain type of experience to get to that level. We don't always just be ready to do it from the womb. So it's going to take those practicing, experiencing moments that we put ourselves in, that we're confident enough to put ourselves in.
And that's what we need to remember too, guys, is to always, time heals. It really does. And I rush all the time. I try to rush everything, and you know, it's just never going to go on my timing. It's never going to go when I want it to. So it's just like, accept it and let time do its thing. When time goes by, you're already in the mode of evolving and working on yourself. It pops up by your front door out of nowhere. So just know that. Have grace.
And like you say, time. Your time will come. Like everybody has their time. I always used to say this kind of provocative term: the sun shines on the dog's ass every once in a while. And what that means is basically the sun will shine on you
regardless.
at some point. It is not always going to be gloomy. It is always not going to be a cloud over your head. There is no one walking around on this God's green earth that has to have a constant shadow of a cloud raining on them. You know what? If you do, my advice to you is to get you an umbrella, and at least you won't get wet.
My advice to you, don't stay stuck. Like, I feel like, you know, for us girlies, we get in a victim mindset sometimes, and I do it all the time. I'm not gonna lie to you. I get into a victim mindset, and I'm like, I just need to let myself saturate in that, okay? I let myself saturate in that for a good 10 to 20 minutes, and then boom, back to that. Back to reflecting, because when you're feeling stuck, you are not reflecting. You're thinking about the problem. You're not thinking about how the problem like why it happened, the steps. You're not thinking about the full spectrum scope of everything. So you need to reflect everything on the full scope and figure out a plan. Like, I hate people who stay stuck for so long because you just don't want to do it. Like, you just don't want to do it.
Perfectly true. They just don't want to do it.
You just don't want to.
They live in this comfort zone of making all these excuses. And they've convinced themselves that they don't want to do what they're supposed to do.
Exactly. And it's like, I know it's so hard. Like, I battled that sometimes. Like, I battled depression. Like, these are all things that we all go through. And so it really just takes you.
Well, one thing about being stuck as a person, as an individual, you're going to be stuck. Mm-hmm. Only you.
Yeah.
Guess what's going to keep happening?
Life.
The world and life is going to move on without you. Mm-hmm. So either you're left in the past, or you get up off your ass and get
No, but for real. And like, okay, just to add on before we end this episode, like, when you're feeling stuck, you are staying stuck. Like, you're literally staying stuck. You're not doing anything that's going to try to change your life. You're not doing anything that's going to make you happy. You're waiting for somebody to tell you something to get you in a different mood. Like, no, you need to be dating yourself. You need to have a strong relationship within yourself. If you want someone to do something for you on, like, say it's something like getting you flowers when you're feeling sad, like, you need to get up and go get you flowers. Like, that was just an example, but it's literally anything like that. Like, date yourself, know what you love, know what you need, and do it for yourself. If you're not doing it for yourself, how do you expect someone to get you out of that slump? How do you expect, like, you know, it's all up to you. Life is what you make it, and you need to flip the switch yourself and tell yourself, do something. Like, it's so easy to get unstuck. It's all up to you.
Yeah, we have, like I said, I always say, we have this connection to the universe. And the universe is always ever changing, evolving. Mm-hmm. And you mean to tell me that we, being the significant beings that we are, our job is not to elevate, change, maneuver, evolve? It's poppycock.
Yeah.
I have this strong belief that every individual on this earth has an impactful bone in their body to do something great and grand on a scheme like no other, because it's only 8 billion of us in the known universe that we know about right now. Mm-hmm. And if there's 100 million, billion, trillion stars and only 8 billion people, you mean to tell me we got all this real estate and we ain't gonna do nothing with it? Are you crazy?
Right, guys. Like, I feel like we think we can't do anything about our lives. Like, we're stuck in a situation. Like, no, I change my cast up. I change my scenery up every 2-3 months. I get tired.
You change your cast up.
Like, I get tired. If it's like for a month, I get tired of doing the same shit. Like, we say all the time, you do not want to be doing the same shit you were doing 2 months ago, 3 months ago. Like, no, I look down on that because I'm like, we all have options. There's options. Like, oh my God. I can talk about that all day.
No,
I just hate it.
A lot of people get stuck in their monotony, and then they start complaining about it,
mm-hmm.
and then they start blaming everybody else for the situations
that was me.
Then they start comparing about the stuff that people have on social media, which is not even a real thing. You mean to tell me that people in everyone's life doesn't have issues that they needed to grow and achieve and to get better with, to get to the point where they want to be,
Right.
Everyone has this opportunity. And once again, I have this thing. We get this shot. We get that free throw shot one time called life.
Right.
And if we don't do anything with it, man, we are just wasting a grand opportunity.
Right. So, guys, we just gave you the full scope on how to stay evolving. We hope you took something from this episode because we really did give a lot of
us.
Yeah, and just what we think about evolving. But we love you guys so much. Thank you for tuning into this new season of Stay Shining, and have a great day.